In this video I am talking about the new kid on the block. This Sigma 105mm f2.8 DG DN macro lens. This is a brand new art lens from Sigma, designed especially for mirrorless cameras, and it comes in Sony-E, this one, and for L mounts for Sigma and Panasonic cameras. This lens is coming on the market straight after the smaller and lighter new 85mm. It is not usual Sigma, it's not huge and a heavy lens. I must say, massive thanks to Sigma UK for lending me this lens for this review, but I am however not paid by Sigma or anyone else to say anything specific about it, so it is my honest and unbiased opinion about it. In this video I am going to talk about its performance, build quality, value, and who it is for. So let's do it. Performance. This lens is good, and I mean high-end good. The quality of images it delivers is just outstanding. This is not just another lens for your Sony camera. This is, in my opinion, as good, if not better, than what Sony has got to offer. Yes, I am talking about the legendary now, this Sony 90mm f2.8 macro lens, which I absolutely love and which is one of my favorite lenses of all time. This is probably better. Sigma really delivers here. Very sharp, amazing autofocus, eye tracking just works, great color and contrast, literally no chromatic aberration, and it is one of those lenses that gives more and more every time you use it. It is obviously one-to-one macro, and it is good at being macro, but it is also great for pretty much every type of everyday photography as well. It is also great focal length for portrait, not just macro, also great portrait lens. 105mm focal length creates lens compression, which in effect creates shallower depth of field, and even though it is only f2.8, it is capable of producing really nice separation between your subject and the background. Also, the bokeh this lens creates has got bags of character and really nice look to it. f2.8, however, is really irrelevant when shooting macro with it. Focusing this close with it creates really shallow depth of field, so unless you close the aperture to f8 or smaller, you will need to stack multiple photos together in post to get just enough sharpness throughout when shooting at macro magnifications. But don't get me wrong, the depth of field will be, and is, very shallow at all apertures when getting this close to your subject. Because of this, even smallest focus adjustments might be more difficult for autofocus, no matter what camera you are using. Even though this lens is very good at autofocusing, manual focusing is the best way to get the sharpness in the right place when shooting macro. And this is true with all macro lenses, in my opinion, and not just this one. Need to mention that it also supports direct manual focus DMF, which enlarges the focusing point on the screen and the viewfinder to make manual focusing easier. When it comes to autofocusing, you just have to remember that by design this lens has got really long focus travel. Autofocusing from one end of it to the other will never be mega quick, not even with the focus distance limiter, which I will talk about in a moment, and especially not with video, but it does work well, and I literally had no issues focusing doing general photography and even with video when it doesn't have to travel from macro to the infinity, as it won't do it quickly. That's how it is. Overall, I think the autofocusing is better here than with this, the Sony's 90mm. Not surprising really, as the Sony lens is 5 years old now, and this has been designed with modern mirrorless cameras in mind. It's very well built. Most of it is hard plastic, there's some metal as well, but it has got that typical Sigma art solid feel to it. The focus ring with that super wide rubbery grip is fine and smooth, and obviously if you are macro adjusting focus in macro photography, this has to be this slick, and it does the job very well. It is relatively small comparing to other Sigma art lenses, 133mm long, weighing 715 grams, and it has got 62mm filter thread. It's less bulky than many other Sigma lenses, and it has several switches and buttons. Standard, manual autofocus, exposure, focus lock, which can be programmed to a lot of other functions via the camera, focus distance limiter switch, which I have mentioned a moment ago. This is to speed up the autofocusing. There is a long way for the focus to travel from the closest possible distance, macro in this case, to infinity. So if you were shooting macro and then decided to shoot something a few meters away from you, the autofocus will have hard time to move from one end to the other. This is when the focus limiter switch comes in. It cuts the focus travel by half. Yeah, pretty much. So you have full mode switch from macro to infinity, half a meter to infinity, and 0.295 meter, the minimum focusing distance, to half a meter. Each of those positions switched on will make the autofocusing faster and more accurate in that range. On the other side of the lens, you do have a lock-unlock switch to unlock the aperture. Locked in A mode, the aperture can be controlled by the camera, but when unlocked, it can be controlled here on a lens, by the ring. This is also supported by another switch to have the aperture clicking on and off on the other side of the lens. I guess this is more to cater for different photographers' taste than actually to make the aperture changes smoother and quieter when filming. But it's here for whatever reasons you might need to declick the aperture ring for. It's quite noisy though. There's no optical stabilization on and off switch, as this lens has got no built-in stabilization and relies on camera's internal IBIS. This will vary obviously from camera to camera, but I had literally no problems using it on A7 III and managed to get sharp images and jitter-free video handheld. The lens has also got weather sealing and it's splash and dust resistant. Value: it will be retailing for £699 here in UK, not much cheaper than the Sony 90mm, but it is cheaper. If you are budget conscious and you want to save a penny or two, then this is a great choice. After shooting with it for a while, I think it is a very high quality lens, and it is actually marginally better than the Sony. So it is really no-brainer to save the money here, even if it is not much. Who is it for? This is a very versatile lens. Maybe not suitable for indoor group family portraits or real estate, but great for pretty much everything else. I do like this focal length for portrait work, but it does really shine for any type of close-ups and, of course, what is meant for macro. The fact is that you can be shooting very fine and small details one moment and some landscape or portrait in the next makes it a really great choice and a great tool for many different situations. 1:1 macro magnification and outstanding sharpness make it really great choice for nature photography, I guess. There is no built-in optical stabilization, but it's not a deal breaker. f2.8 wide aperture is fast enough for majority of real-life situations, and when shooting macro with smaller apertures will require a tripod most of the time anyway. I didn't find it a problem and I really had fun shooting with it. Thanks once again to Sigma UK for letting me play with this lens for this review, and this is it from me. If you like this video, then please give me the thumbs up, and if you like this kind of content from me, photography, video, lenses, cameras, tutorials and reviews, then please consider subscribing. Click that button, click the bell to get notifications of the future videos, and thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Whew. Okay, I think I'm ready. The manual focusing. So here, in case you wanted to know, they're almost identical with the Sony. Sigma is tiny bit longer, but overall they weigh similar, they look similar, and they are about the same size.